There may be more BioShock on the way. Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick has called the series unquestionably a permanent franchise. I mean,
like
this is your favorite thing, right?
Yeah, God, they've talked about this before a little bit. I mean, we all assume it's in development somewhere. It's this weird thing where like 2K Marin, who made BioShock 2, is gone. They kind of became, for the most part, Hangar 13, which is making Mafia 3 and Vodka. And then, 2K Australia helped on all those games. They're now defunct. Irrational, they're now defunct. So it's like this interesting thing where like, I don't want to get excited for BioShock until I know who is doing it.
Right.
Because I totally believe that it's out there somewhere being made.
You think there's a BioShock game being made right now?
Yes,
at least in pre-production. Totally.
I absolutely do.
Really?
Yeah.
But you guys don't. You just don't know which studio.
BioShock, the iOS trading card game.
Yes.
Damn it.
Perfect.
That Vita game's still on the way too.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what happened when Ken Levine holds up a Vita.
That's when you know it's real.
It's got to be real, and shows a logo that he had on his computer.
Man, whoever's making it, I almost wonder if it'll even be an owned 2K studio. Like, I can see them finally deciding to like outsource it to somebody.
Right.
But like, I just want to know what it is. Like, I'm very excited. I don't know if you remember the Infinite announced trailer where it's a fake out and it looks like you're in Rapture, but it's actually a fish tank, and then a handyman crushes the fish tank.
Right.
Like, I just love that, and I would hate to see them go back to Rapture or Columbia.
Yep.
Like, I think whatever it is, just start new. I don't need anything beyond very light Easter eggs and references to the original BioShock games.
The worst thing that series did was, I think, have a sequel. I mean, it was sort of that. Is it a sequel with BioShock 2? But like, the whole thing is it's an alternate universe, or alternate realities.
Yeah.
Why not? Like, I mean, go anywhere new.
And that was the thing.
I mean, that was just being able to reuse assets.
That was exactly right. Like, 2K Marin has bred some of the most incredible talent in the industry. Don't get me wrong. Like, the people who worked there have gone on to do so many cool things at so many cool studios. But that game very much felt like a mandate to me. It felt like, oh, you like Big Daddies? Now you play as one, and there's multiplayer, and it was just very much like
girl.
Yeah, well,
There's a lady daddy now. There's a big mommy. You can fight 40 of her in some leaky basement.
And the thing is,
You're
like,
f***ed up pipe. You bored of that? Here's another 12 hours of that. That game. No, I'm sorry. This story of, and Max bringing that up, it totally evokes the really just not bad, but just really just flatlined dead memories I have of BioShock 2. Like, there was really, I don't know, I played that entire game for probably, 10, 12 hours. I finished it. I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
Aside from they just kept throwing more of the same at you.
There are parts of it that I do think are legitimately like interesting and smart. It's sort of non-canon. Like, I mean, Ken Levine hasn't really ever acknowledged it, and I guess he's the only one. But at the same time, it gave us, Jordan Thomas was creative director on that game, and he went on to make the Magic Circle this year, which is really, really cool.
Yeah. And the DLC was Fulbright. Well, like pretty much all the Fulbright company.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, so yeah, Jordan Thomas went on to kind of contribute a lot of incredible stuff to Infinite before he left. But then, Steve Gaynor and Carla and a lot of those people who are now at Fulbright making Tacoma worked on Minerva's Den, which is still probably among the best DLC ever. And that story, the Charles Porter story, is incredible. You can play it, as long as you have a copy of BioShock 2, you can play it without needing, to have played the game at all. That DLC as a standalone BioShock story might be the tightest thing in that entire thing. But anyway, that aside, I think more BioShock would be incredible.
So you're obviously the number one BioShock fan this side of everywhere.
Listen to my number one BioShock podcast.
It's actually the number two
BioTalk with Andrew Goldfarb and no one else.
Where do you want
like
to see
Ryan's Tesla podcast.
That's right. It already went. We went underwater. We went into sky. Where else are we going? Earth.
Brian made a really cool feature about this way back in the day.
You and I worked on this together, right?
Brian and I, it probably doesn't work anymore. It's probably like iframes garbage. But like in 2011, Brian and I did a feature on this. I mean, there's always those, like, there's all this dumb, if you Google around.
We pitched like an Ewok Village one, right?
We did one in the trees. There was one inside of an active volcano. There was one in like an ice. There was
the world is hell out there. Come live in this volcano with us.
Did you guys just go with like video game levels
as
opposed to time periods?
I mean,
what goes into what is a BioShock game? Like, what makes it? You need a lighthouse.
Yeah.
And
a girl with half a thumb,
some messed up guns.
I mean, it's basically it's the idea of
superpower juice,
a questionable madman with political ambitions,
something bad
and a society that's
shooting in your veins.
Yeah, basically, it is a society that's separate from regular society, and I think you would hope that it can be something as simple as, like, I don't know, I'd even be fine with it being a segmented part of a city, or like it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be underwater or in space or whatever. Like
I'm all for them getting away from the 1950s aesthetic.
Yeah,
Again,
I mean, like
I feel like when they first did that was fine, but like we've had like 4
Columbia
Fallouts
is more,
and a whole bunch
20s, 30s.
Yeah,
like,
make a 1980s game. You know,
Well,
like
I would
make a
love-
1980s
I would love a
BioShock.
70s or an 80s game. That would be
So-
awesome.
70s BioShock,
Right?
Set in like a gritty New York or like a
Yes.
like weird like shadow city inside of New York.
Yeah.
we got
and
that- we got
that's what I
that-
want. I want exactly that. I want essentially Arkham City, but like a sectioned off part of an existing city. I think.
Yeah.
It'd be a
I want an
fascinating way to do
underwater
BioShock.
Nakatomi Plaza from Die Hard.
Perfect.
Basically, they're throwing a party and there's a whole bunch of people you have to fight, and they're
What's
all
the driver's name in Die Hard 1? I want him to just be there for no
Argyle?
reason.
Argyle?
I want Argyle in a limo just waiting outside of wherever the new BioShock
That'd
takes
be
place
awesome.
for the entire game.
No, I'm excited for this. I mean, I think there's cool stuff you can do there. I think, like you said, it's a matter of whatever studio gets their hands on it.
And how willing Take-Two is to let them play around with it. I think, I want to see something different. I really do. And I hope that they don't make them do it in Rapture. I hope they don't make them. It starts at the lighthouses and it's starring Elizabeth and blah, blah. Like, I would love to just have no connection whatsoever to kind of like that True Detective Fargo style thing where it's like you can have it loosely tied.
There's also like cute things where like if you do it in a city, it could be like a bar called the Lighthouse that is like the entrance to the thing.
Yeah,
Totally. That
I
sounds
love
awesome.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see them. BioShock now, if you just look at BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite, I worry that they're going to do that thing where it's like almost this like by the numbers, like, okay, like start and whatever it is, a lighthouse, and then you go into this remote city and there's a madman running it. Like, I kind of don't want any of those tropes. I would rather see them keep it kind of thematically, like the core ideas of kind of a separate society and kind of like that weird like dystopian vibe. I'd be fine
I was
with,
literally just to
but-
be like, what if this time you play the bad guy? I was like, that already happened.
Yeah. No, the idea of like a futuristic city that was a utopia that fell to the hands of drug addicts
Sure.
is a cool concept.
Well,
So
I think that
hopefully more.
the thing that was missing from Infinite was that was very clearly should have been an open world game. The whole idea of having a
Yeah.
rail system and traveling around,
Yeah.
like it's completely idiotic to have rail systems that just go around in circles. Like,
It's
it's
a
like, what is the
small
point of
little
that?
arena.
And
Yeah.
that's the
Right.
thing too. Like, I think BioShock now, again, like I don't want them to operate within the constraints of the other games. Like, if you're gonna make a current gen BioShock game, like let it be open world.
That is a franchise that works so well as an open world
totally
game.
agree with that. And for backtracking, honestly,
Yeah.
like that's a game where like,
Well, especially if
God,
it almost has like Metroidvania elements to where
Th-
like
that's
you
what I was
get,
just gonna say. Exactly. Like of all series, like if you're gonna do it kind of in the style of what BioShock has been in the past, like like as you learn, imagine like a Metroidvania, but not necessarily with weapons or plasmids, but with knowledge. Like if you're going back to an area and just know more about it, you can understand it enough to like explore
Yeah.
deeper.
The key thing is it has to be interesting. Like it has to
Yeah.
be something you care about for X amount of time.
Yeah, and I think like Infinite suffered from, if you go back to BioShock 1 or 2, I think BioShock 2 mechanically has it all over BioShock 1, and they did a lot of interesting things with the weapons and with kind of what you could do with plasmids. I'd like to see them, again, think outside the box. Like, I don't need it to I don't need fire, I don't need telekinesis. Like, give me something that's actually like fundamentally affects gameplay in an interesting way. I don't know, I really hope they give this to someone who is willing to take
Like
risks
being
and
able
try
to
something
run
cool.
really, really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That'd be a cool power to
That'd be
run,
cool.
run it
That'd
real
be cool.
fast.
What about
Yeah.
instead of birds, you could just throw a whole bunch of cats at people?
Or
What if you could-
watermelons.
what if you could
it's
throw
just
a
a-
murder
it's
of
just
throw up on
murder of
command.
cats.
just heavy fruits.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just those environments need to be like airtight. Like the first hour of BioShock
Because it's
Infinite.
underwater. Of course it needs to be airtight.
Damn it.
It's gonna get all wet.
Damn it, Martin. Stop it. No, but like
Same
if
with
you're-
thme balloons in the third one, huh? Gotta make sure those.
You're idiots. I hate all of you.
I think I
The
worry.
guy in a popsicle shirt just called us idiots.
for me, the big thing with BioShock is obviously Ken Levine gets a lot of the credit. The writing has always been incredible in those games, but honestly, the art direction is the star for me with Rapture and Columbia. So. My biggest fear isn't that they can find a good writer for it. My biggest fear is that they can have that kind of incredible aesthetic because I
That
feel like those are
singular vision.
married.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and
like,
it's not just also trying to top the one hit and be like, oh,
Exactly.
did you like bloomers and ruffles and weird steampunk guns? Well, guess what? There's more of them now. It's like do something, take that philosophy and go somewhere with it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I also
so-
we were talking earlier. We think that this is a candidate for one of those games that has the Fallout treatment of it gets announced at an E3 and is out that fall because of how long the sort of PR cycle on Infinite was.
I don't think you hear about this game for at least a year and a half. I think
Really?
you
So
get
not
this.
no E3 2016 reveal?
No way. I would be shocked. I think you.
Oh, would you?
Awful.
All right.
Just awful.
Good episode, folks. Tune in for episode 421. No, yeah, I think maybe E3 2017 and then it's out fall 2017 would be my totally shot in the dark guess.
Okay.
Because unless they've been very quietly doing this, but Irrational dissolved in early 2014. So it's been just under 2 years now. I guess that's enough time to have shopped it to a studio, but I would imagine it took them a long time to recruit a team. I don't know. I can't wait. I really am excited to see where this franchise goes.
We'll see. Cool. Stay tuned.